Hi, everybody. Welcome to another week. I wanted to talk to you all directly about what's going on in school around the COVID situations that we have, and to give you some information and to answer some of the common questions that parents have been asking. Um, this comes along with a newsletter which shares the same information, so it's up to you whether you'd prefer to listen and watch or to read that information. I'm going to first of all just acknowledge the fact that we share your concerns. It's not a sort of you and us situation. We, as a staff team, absolutely understand how it can make you feel anxious about sending your children into. It has made us feel a little bit anxious. Um, we don't want to take it home to our families too. We don't want to get it and miss work. However, we know in school that we are doing absolutely everything possible to slow down the spread. We can't stop the spread, but we can certainly slow down the spread. And we're balancing that out with keeping school running as normally as possible for the children, um, and keeping them as safe as possible. So we just wanted to recognise that it feels the same for us as it does for you. A strange time where everybody's just doing our best to do the job that we have been tasked with. And that job is to keep schools open and to keep children learning in the classrooms as much as possible. The one thing we do all absolutely agree on is that children have missed too much school in the last 2 years. And so, if there's any way that they can be in school and learning, we will make the absolute best of that situation for them. I wanted to let you know where we are now as a school. We do have some staff off, and they are staff from different teams in the school. So the admin team, the MSA team, the breakfast club team, the teaching assistants, and we've just stepped into the teaching team. So what that means is you might see different adults doing different things. You'll have seen me serving up toast at a breakfast club one morning, or you might see a supply teacher in a classroom during the week. We've got enough staff to keep school running safely, absolutely. And I can definitely tell you that the staff that we have in our school are bending over backwards to make the school run as smoothly as it possibly can, and as normally as it possibly can, for the children in our care. So I'm so proud and grateful to all of them for that. We do have some cases in each class. What we don't have is massive explosions of cases. Some schools have cases in their class where it's gone over 50%, and more children are off with COVID than there are coming into school. We are not at that position in any of our classes. And lots of our cases are actually sibling cases. So, whilst there is some transmission within school, within one classroom at a time, a lot of it is also being passed around in homes, which we can't do anything to prevent, and which is absolutely understandable. We have to let the Norfolk Outbreak Management Centre know when we get to 3 cases within a class, because that's 10% of a group. And they then advise us and check that we are doing absolutely everything that we should be doing, following the guidance that has been set by the government. So, what are we doing to try to prevent the spread? Well, as I've acknowledged, we can't stop the spread, but we can slow it down. We are using ventilation as one of our biggest tools. We have CO2 monitors now in each classroom, which help us know if we have got enough air flowing through the room. And if there isn't, then we open more windows and more doors. So they have been really useful, and also really helpful and reassuring adults and children that we have enough ventilation. And hopefully, as we move into any colder snaps, it will mean that we don't have to have perhaps as many windows and doors open as we did last year, because now we know where a good level is for us. We have extra cleaning where there are more cases in a class. So we have something called a fogger, which our caretakers can use when we ask them to, and they do that on top of all the normal cleaning that's going on. Classes are not mixing in the dinner hall, so they're either eating back in their classrooms, or we're having a whole class come through at the dinner hall, wash it all down before another class comes through. So there's no mixing at that point. We're keeping children as separate as possible during the school day, while still trying to, keep learning opportunities going as much as we can. So Read, Write, Ink, for example. We are encouraging the daily lateral flow testing where there are cases within a class. So when we get to 3 and we've informed the Norfolk Outbreak Management Centre, that's when you'll get an email from me asking you to check your child each day with a lateral flow test. And I really believe that is what has stopped cases going from 3 to 6 to 9 and 12 and so on. So thank you very much. We are continuing to wear masks in communal areas for the foreseeable future, even though the laws are changing on that next week. We will continue to do that. So people have questions about when their child should stay off school, when they should come in, and it's so confusing with the guidance changing so much. So I just wanted to answer that. So if your child has the obvious COVID symptoms, cough, temperature, loss of smell or taste, they should definitely stay off. If they test positive for COVID on a lateral flow test, even if they haven't got symptoms, they should stay off. If they have symptoms like headache, sickness, and for some of our younger children, it was a rash, we would encourage you to do a lateral flow test on them. If they test negative and they feel better, then they can come back in. But if they test positive, because it's one of those sort of additional symptoms, then we've caught it. If they have sickness or diarrhea or any of the normal childhood illnesses like chickenpox, then they should stay off. And of course, if they really feel seriously unwell, they should stay off. But when should they come to school? If they're absolutely fine, we are not encouraging children to stay at home if there are some cases in their class. If they're fine and if they're testing negative, they should come to school. If they're a bit under the weather, but it's not too bad or anything COVID-y, they should come in. So we've noticed that people have become more cautious around sending their child to school if there's any kind of little illness that they're suffering from. And that means more children are missing more learning time. So we would encourage you to refer to the guidance of if they should stay off or not. If their siblings or someone else has COVID, then they should be coming into school. And ideally, they would come all the time, as long as they are well enough to. So just a bit more details about when your child should get tested for COVID, if they have any of those main symptoms that we've just talked about. If they have the wider symptoms, then to lateral flow. And also you might get advice from me or test and trace that they've been a close contact and therefore they should do a lateral flow test. If your child does test positive in any of those ways, you must notify test and trace. I am considering that because more people are coming up positive on lateral flows rather than PCR tests, not everyone is informing test and trace, and therefore that might be why the national figures are looking even better than they actually are. So please do register your child if they test positive on a lateral flow so that the government knows the reality of the numbers. So if your child has tested positive and they are isolating, the new rules, and I know they've changed a lot, are that they should stay off for a minimum of 6 days. You should lateral flow on day 5 and day 6. If they're negative on both of those, they have that freedom to leave the house on day 6. One of the things I should have added in there is the day they test positive or start being ill is day 0, not day 1, day 0. So if today that I'm recording this is Sunday, if they tested positive on a Sunday, that would be day 0. Monday would be day 1. Friday would be day 5. Saturday would be day 6. If they do keep testing positive on their lateral flows after day 5 and 6, keep testing until you get 2 negative days, maybe on day 7 or 8, for example, or once they've done 10 days isolation. What will we provide if your child is positive? Well, we will do packed lunches. We'll deliver them to your door if your child has free school meals. If you can see that your child is well enough for learning, please get them to take part in the remote learning that's being provided on Class Dojo or Google Classroom. I've seen some wonderful examples recently where some children were learning at home, and then when they came back in, they were able to use the learning at home as the continuation of what they were doing in the classroom. It worked so well, and adults are trying to put in real effort into providing remote learning that matches what we're doing in the classroom. If you do need a laptop for home learning, please let us know and we will get one to you. If one child is positive and others are not in your household, this is a real problem for lots of families. We do understand how tricky it is. The other children should ideally be in school. So if you can explore how you can get them in, please do. We'd really appreciate that. Bring them in the car. Um, one parent bringing in the negative child, another parent staying at home. Ask another parent or friend to bring them in. We do understand how tricky it is, so do let us know if you're having real problems with that, and we'll see if we can help. Finally, why are we pushing attendance? I know we're annoying some people by ringing you up and trying to see if we can help you get your children into school if they are not unwell themselves. And we're doing it for several reasons. As much as we're trying with remote learning, the experience we provide in school is the most ideal experience in terms of learning. We can help the children with what they're doing. With some children learning in school, some at home, it's hard to keep them all at the same point, and the longer they're off, the harder it is for them to slot back into school and the learning. So, if possible, we want them to be there. And that bigger point about having missed so much in the last 2 years, if they can be there, they should be. So to sum up, just hopefully we can get through this period and on to spring and summer of 2022 with as few cases as we can, with your help, and as little learning as possible, little learning lost as possible, again, with your help. Thank you for watching this. The main thing that I ask of you is to communicate with us. It's helped us solve problems, work out where people are in their family situations and deal with them. And it's the most helpful thing you can do for us as a school, to let us know where you are and what's happening. Thanks for watching. Stay well. Bye.